Councilmember Tui will be participating there this evening in our remotely. City Council meets all requirements of the State of Washington Open Public Meetings Act. Community members are welcome to join either in person, remote, via Zoom, or by calling in. Those who wish to participate in future via Zoom, you'll find the instructions to register for public comment on the City of Everett website under City Council Department. Please note that we do not comment on any kind of campaigning, whether for or against ballot measures or candidates running for office. We also do not accept comments focusing on personal matters that are unrelated to city business. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Franklin.
Excused.
Councilmember Zarlingo.
Yes, here.
Sorry, Vice President Zarlingo. Councilmember Fossey.
She's excused.
Councilmember Vogely.
Here.
Councilmember Bader.
Here.
Councilmember Ryan.
Here.
Councilmember Tui.
I saw the lips move.
Did you hear me?
Yes. President Schwab.
Here. I would like to ask Vice President Zarlingo to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to ask Councilmember Vogely to read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you. The City Council wishes to acknowledge the original inhabitants of this place, the Shahoksh people and their successors, the Tulalip tribes. Since time immemorial, they have hunted, fished, gathered on, and taken care of these lands and waters. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and water. We will strive to be honest about our past mistakes and bring about a future that includes their people, stories, and voices to form a more just and equitable society.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of January 10th, 2024?
Councilmember Ryan moves approval of the minutes of January 10th, 2024.
Thank you.
Member Bader, second.
Okay, hearing a motion and a second. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes?
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes.
Don't forget about Councilmember Tui.
Oh,
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
oh, good.
So sorry.
Get used to that. Thank you. Hi, Angie. Do we have anyone signed up to speak this evening?
Good evening, President Schwab. We do. First, we have a couple of written comments for names I have to read out. Brent Vanderwilt and Kate Van Gent regarding item 4, the Riverfront development. And we have some people online and in chambers wanting to speak to items 4 and 5. So we'll start with the general comments online and then general comments in chambers. So first, I'll ask Roxana to unmute and turn on your camera if possible. And you'll have, you've been accommodated for 5 minutes to speak. And I'm going to put a timer on my screen here. And once you see that, just state your full name, city, residence, and just monitor the clock. So 1 moment, please.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Good evening, council members. I wanted to thank Mayor Franklin for her idea to have council members decide where to spend $100,000 each. All choices were fantastic and will make a big difference in our community. Special thanks to Councilmember Fossey for awarding Faith Food Bank and Farmer Frog $25,000 to purchase food for Everett people in need. I encourage Mayor Franklin to continue this program. I would also like to make a special announcement that Faith Family Village has finally passed all the hurdles. Families with kids will be moving in the next few days. They will be getting out of this freezing weather and into a nice warm pallet shelter and enjoying a nice hot meal and warm shower. I know that at times I was probably a difficult person. But it's only because of all the love I especially have for homeless kids. I want to thank Mayor Franklin, Kimbra Landry, and other city staff, along with council members Vogley, Fossey, Ryan, Zarlingo, and Schwab for taking time to come visit the village, learn about us, and help us navigate and overcome obstacles to getting Faith Family Village finally open so families can move in. I look forward to seeing the Women and Children's Shelter on Cedro Ducey near us open later this year. If you'd like the village's help in learning from our mistakes, we are here for you. Dealing with a children's shelter is much different than dealing with Everett Gospel Mission. But I appreciate all of your continued work in providing shelter to our homeless community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll go with Sarah. If you could unmute and turn your camera on, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak in just one moment.
I got approved for 4 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you did. Sorry, 1 second. How can I make it go 4? Dang it. Okay, so state your full name and city of residence and go ahead when you're ready.
Good evening, Council. My name is Sarah Olson, and I live in the city of Everett. I'm here tonight to urge this council to take long overdue action in addressing the city's structural deficit by directing the mayor to pursue fire consolidation, specifically annexation into the South County Regional Fire Authority. Last week, you were presented with a shrinking array of viable options to address the pending budget cliff, ranging from various consolidations to a levy lid lift. When asked which option the mayor recommends, she quipped, all of them, honestly. Hopefully you heard the alarm bells ringing. They've been going off since my time serving as park board chair a decade ago. When evaluating the array of options, there is a clear winner that stands above the rest as offering the best value and service for residents while taking the biggest bite out of the structural deficit, and that is fire consolidation. The good news is that the hard work to form an RFA has already been done, and Everett has the option to pursue a simple annexation vote to join South County. There are 4 windows of opportunity to successfully pass a public measure in order to form by August 1st, 2025, and have tax collection begin in 2026. You might be thinking, but that doesn't solve our budget problem in 2025, but it can. If there is a push for a public vote, say this coming November general election, the city would have the result before finalizing its 2025 budget and could dip into one-time reserves for a known 1-year short-term patch. More on that another time. Yes, taxpayers would have to vote to tax themselves for fire service separately and without knowing for certain what this body will do to offset or lower city taxes going forward. However, the RFA can deliver fire service more efficiently due to economies of scale, and in theory, the city should be able to reduce its property tax levy rate close to or possibly equal to the RFA levy rate and be budget net positive with breathing room to deliver all other city services while being tax neutral to the residents. It is possible. Why South County annexation and not pursue a new merger? Because it's the simplest and quickest option. Even on a fast track, a merger pursuit would take a minimum of 18 months and has a much greater risk. I know because I was the co-lead for the formation of South County RFA. If annexation is successful, additional runway can be gained by pursuing the other consolidation options. And when the city is able to demonstrate equal or greater service for equal or less taxation. But now is not the time to chase peanuts. Now is time to take the big bite. The solution is not a levy lid lift. It could be if all the city needed was a small amount to address recent inflation, but the problem is vastly more than that. Even after years of shedding city services and workforce, the city needs a minimum of 20 cents and probably upwards of 80 cents just to survive. This is completely unattainable and, in my opinion, has little chance of success with the voters when it's just being used to maintain a shrinking level of city services. The solution is not MUGA annexation. You will waste more time and money to conduct an economic study, which will show that annexation will be a further drain on the city budget. Maybe after fire consolidation, this calculus could change. It's time for unwavering, decisive action. There's no time to waste. The residents are counting on this council to finally solve this problem. Put your energy into the big fix and laser focus on it. Please direct the administration to pursue negotiations with South County Fire to create a pre-annexation agreement before the window of opportunity closes and this option is no longer viable. It will take work, but it is achievable. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to those in chamber. Susie, if you could come to the podium. And just hit the right button on the base of the mic and state your full name and city residence, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you. My name's Susie Thompson, and I live in Everett. I live in the Boulevard Bluffs neighborhood of Everett. On February 3rd, our hot water tank burst and flooded, and as a result, it had to be replaced. While visiting with a neighbor the next day, I learned that others on our street had the same thing happen to their hot water tanks. We found out from the City of Everett website that on the afternoon of February 3rd, approximately 472 properties in Bridle Bluff area of Boulevard Bluffs neighborhood may have experienced a brief fluctuation in water pressure as a result of private construction activity in the area. I called the city on February 7th and I left a message. Matt Welburn, the Public Works Finance Director, called me back. He said that it was not the city's fault. He said that we should claim on our homeowner's insurance, who would then claim to the private contractor. Matt told me the private contractor was Haas Brothers Construction. On February 15th, I called Haas and talked to Russell. He advised me that Haas Brothers doesn't have the capability to cause any fluctuation in the water pressure, that only the city can do that. He told me that Haas will not pay any claims. He told me to call the city back. I called the city back that day and I talked to Matt again. This time he said the city hasn't made a decision yet how to handle this. He said, the city will make you right. Matt said that going forward, Grant M. would be handling this and that I would hear from him next week. I never heard from him. My husband and I filed a tort claim with the city on March 13th. I know several others in Boulevard Bluffs have done the same. That day I was given a contact person at the city. Her name was Chris Schultz. I've left several messages and she's called me back once. Chris said the city is still reviewing what happened and suggested we claim our homeowners. For the last 10 months, we haven't heard anything. The City of Everett supplies our water. I think the city should be responsible to reimburse the homeowners for damages. I hope the council will look into this, and thank you for your service on the Everett City Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Ryan, if you could please come to the podium. And state your full name and city of residence, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Ryan Stenhouse. I also live in Everett. Is that good? Was there a
Yes,
third thing?
that's
Okay,
good.
cool. Sorry. Good evening, council members. I appreciate the time and hearing my dilemma with the city. Like Ms. Thompson, I am here for the same reasons. On February 3rd of last year, the city overpressurized the water lines due in part to a nearby construction project. I believe it's called the Soundview Business Center. I think they've changed names, but needless to say, this caused the pressure release valve to break in my home. Almost immediately, we found standing water in one of our rooms and shut the water off at the street. Initially, I called Angie Kim. She was the Senior Director of Development of Bridge Industrial, who at the time oversaw the construction site. I left her a voicemail at about 2 o'clock. Before 3 o'clock, she had returned my call and stated the City of Everett turned on the water line and didn't depressurize it. She gave me the phone number of Jim Knappert at City Public Works. 5 minutes after that, I called the City Public Works dispatch group to get guidance on how to proceed. They gave me a service request number. At 3:15, my wife walked down the street, about 3 houses down, where she saw the City of Everett water trucks. 2 gentlemen confirmed that they had inadvertently connected the lines with the development nearby and that other neighboring homes were having similar issues. Their advice was to contact the City Public Works dispatch and file a claim. 45 minutes later, Casey with the City Public Works called back and shared that the entire zone had been overpressurized. He said to keep track of any expenses and submit a claim within the city. He said he would do this, we could do this online or by contacting Chris Schultz. I also submitted a claim almost a year ago. I've talked to Chris, and her only recommendation, again, was like hers, was to file a claim with my homeowner's insurance. Well, all of us know if you file with your homeowner's insurance, you're going to have either A, your deductible, or you're going to get dropped, especially with water. I also found out by speaking with her that there are dozens of other homes. She didn't want to give me the number of how many homes have filed. I wrote Councilmember Ms. Tui, and her reply was that the city is still investigating who the city or the construction company is responsible. Councilmember Tui also referred me to Councilmember Schwab, who would be in contact, but I have not heard from him yet, so I don't know if that message ever got to him. It's important to note something, and I echoed these same words to Chris when I spoke to her on the phone. I'm one of those people that I'm not looking for a remodel if the city screws something up. I'm not looking for a remodel of the room. I'm not looking to have anyone replace the carpet I had to pull out. I'm not like asking anyone to replace the cabinets that were damaged. I'm literally only asking for the plumber to come out and fix what broke. No property damage. In the end, while the city can prolong the whole, we need to figure out the city or the construction company is liable, it's nonsense. I've talked to 4 people, 3 of which at the city admitted fault.
If I could have you wrap it up.
I will.
Yeah, thank you.
I have just a couple more, I'm sorry. And ultimately, the city is responsible for the service of the water lines to its customers, period. If everyone who drove a Ford and the brakes lost, everyone would be calling Ford. Well, it would be nonsense if Ford said, don't call us, call the brake company. It's the same thing with this case. I have a neighbor who retired from the city that was part of the finance group, and he said, it's unbelievable that they're doing it the way that they are, and that when he worked there, the city would simply pay out the customer, being me, and then if it was a third party's fault, then they go after them. Besides that, I think there's a lot of us out there that have had this done, and we're just patiently waiting. So any kind of update or opportunity would be appreciated. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea. If you could please come to the podium. Chelsea? And please state your full name and city of residence, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay, well, my name is Chelsea Gray. I'm a longtime resident of Everett, the Port Gardner neighborhood, for about the last 9 years. Since October 13th of 23, I have been stalked by my neighbors, and I guess I'm here to talk about a prejudice in policing, it feels like, especially as related to violence and crimes against women. The stalking is severe. Not only that, it is also a hacking using a new and extremely dangerous device called the Flipper Zero that everyone really should Google. I've seen other people come into the EPD and relay similar stories of their phone numbers being deprovisioned, and then those phone numbers being used to bypass 2FA. In any case, it has gotten extreme. It's been 3 modems, 15 phones, my TV, Google Home, like everything. And also, it appears, because I can hear them talking about it, it appears that they have set up a website to sell my data and my geolocation and illegal surveillance of me in $5 and $40 packages. I don't know how to get any help here. This is a serious issue. It is a multitude of felonies, probably federal crimes as well. But I'm just looking to be safe, to not have to sleep with a chambered, loaded 9mm under my pillow and have bolt locks and U-locks on every interior and exterior door of my home. So they tried to break in on Saturday, 3:33 a.m. And it used to be they just broke in while I was not home, and now it is escalating to breaking in while I am home. And I'd just like to be safe in my home again and taken seriously by the police. I've not, since October 3rd or 13th, been able to get any sort of thorough or actual investigation. Nobody has come out to fingerprint my car or examine my home, even for the basics like fingerprints. And I just wonder why that is. And I wonder, if I were a home-owning white man in his 50s, I think that the response would be different. It would have to be different. If it were anyone on this council, the response would be different. It would have to be different. And why is it not that way for me? I mean, like the women, anybody, really anybody would be fearful for their lives. And I've submitted thorough police reports. And I know it looks like the mayor is not here today, but I did bring one for the council.
So if I could have you wrap it up.
Oh, I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The remaining public comments are for items 4 and 5.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to council comments and reports. Councilmember Benzalingo.
Thank you, Council President. Well, first, I want to thank people who came to comment, in particular Roxana. I first met her, I think it was a couple of years ago, the first visit to the proposed Faith Family Village, and it was quickly clear to me that she was a force of nature, and that was what was going to be required, I think, to make all that happen, and she has fought through those things, so I thank her for her work that way to help feed and house our community members. I won't go into much detail. Last week's meeting with the Puget Sound Regional Council's Transportation Policy Board, except to say that we're working with them to get resources for Everett to handle the transportation difficulties we have and challenges. And one thing that's occurred to me is in representing Everett is how different Everett is than so many of the other communities. Such a major job center and a place where a whole lot of people get housing. And I think I'll leave it to others to summarize the Parks and Quality of Life meeting earlier today. Chair Ryan will be able to do that very well, better than me. And I know that others are more deeply informed and more eloquent regarding the Monday commemoration of the life and work of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and I look forward to hearing more. Accordingly, I'll make just one comment and a suggestion in this area. I think that many of you will be familiar with Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech delivered from the Lincoln Memorial so many years ago. Really stirring and inspiring words, but for those who want to know more about that movement, Dr. King's thoughts and experiences, I would humbly recommend his essay, Letter from a Birmingham Jail. He wrote it while being imprisoned for a march and a protest. It's an amazing document. It's clear and straightforward, but comprehensively covers the civil rights movement, both its recent history and much deeper history. Also, Dr. King's resolute commitment to nonviolence. It also explains his rationale for the carefully limited civil disobedience he called direct action. I regret that it was only about a decade ago that I became aware of this essay, but I reread it periodically and did so on Monday. A simple web search will find it online under several different titles, or your favorite librarian, I'm sure, would be glad to get it for you. And I think if you take a few minutes to read this, you'll be as impressed and moved as I was. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Vogely.
Thank you. It's nice to see all of you here this evening. I would talk about the library board, but Councilmember Bader was also there, and he's the actual liaison. So, not yet, but and we didn't talk about it earlier, so I'm gonna leave that to you. Is that okay, or do you want me to talk about it?
Why don't you go ahead? You go
Me?
ahead. Yeah. go for
Okay.
it, yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't take notes, even though.
I'll back clean up for you.
No, okay, sounds good. So yes, the library board, they had, let's see, there was quite a big discussion about, the possibility of the merger between Snow Isle and Everett Public Library. And, yeah, really, there was just a mass discussion, and it was really good feedback from all of the folks on the board, and I think they will eventually have a lot to say to us as a board, and I wanted to remind us of the letter that they sent the council just previous to the new year, and all the preventative measures that the library can accomplish in public safety. And I think a lot of us and them wanted to just remember that it's one of those safe places that people can go and just be. And considering it was so cold, and the libraries are one of the only cold weather shelters, it was really sad to have pipes burst, and the South Library Evergreen branch was closed for a couple of days. So just a shout out to all of the folks that were volunteering to keep places open to stay warm. Second Chance on Colby Avenue isn't a typical warm weather shelter, but they stayed open during the freezing temperatures for the most part. I know I was able to volunteer for a bit, and a couple other council members as well. And I believe that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Bader.
Yeah, just a little addendum. So the South Everett Library is supposed to be open tomorrow, I think, Thursday. Again, in the pipe, I think affected staff areas, but not the general public use areas. So anyhow, good just information to pass along to our colleagues here so that they know that. But if you're looking to get a book, I think by tomorrow you should be good.
Thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
Councilmember Ryan.
Great, thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for being here tonight. Thank you to our commenters as well. I would make a request to the administration to follow up with the folks that had concerns about the pipes, if staff hasn't already gotten in touch with them, and work on making sure that they are able to get the answers that they need for a clear direction on where things are going with that. Earlier tonight, we had our Parks and Quality of Life committee meeting. As a reminder, all of our committee meetings are posted on our YouTube channel for everybody to review and enjoy. Tonight's discussions, we talked about the upcoming styrofoam ban, the statewide styrofoam ban. So starting June 1st of this year, a lot of different styrofoam products are going to be banned in the state. And so I had asked for an update on that, of how the city's preparing for that, especially with festivals and the work that we do and the excitement that we have during the summer with food trucks and food containers and whatnot. So it was a great discussion. We also had Port CEO Lisa Lefebvre join us to talk about a possible port expansion, which is looking like it'll be coming to voters in the August ballot. So she gave a really great overview of the good work that they're doing, the work that they could do if they were to expand countywide, and what that would mean for folks' taxes. For people who are currently in the Port District, if they were to expand to countywide, minus the Edmonds Port, property taxes would actually go down because their levied amount would be distributed among more people. So I think that's always good news to hear. So check it out for more information on the great work that the Port is doing. On Monday, I attended the Lowell Neighborhood Association meeting, and as a reminder, they meet the third Monday of every month at 7 p.m. at the Community Church in Lowell. And on Tuesday, I attended the Valley View meeting, which is the third Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. at the South Precinct, and had a great discussion with our Parks group. Also on Monday, I attended the Snohomish County Black Heritage Martin Luther King Jr. celebration and rally. It was very well attended, especially considering how cold it was to make the march from the Longfellow Building to the Carl Gibson Senior Center. But it was an excellent celebration to honor Dr. King and all that he stood for and the leadership that he provided. I think when we think about Dr. King, we often think about the 1963 March on Washington, where Dr. King gave his "I Have a Dream" speech. And it's a good reminder that the full title of the event was the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. And folks were marching not just to demand an end to segregation, but for voter rights, better education, and long overdue civil rights protections, and also for fair wages and economic justice. Fair wages and the ability for a person to earn their paycheck has always been a source of dignity. And unfortunately, some employers who do not play by the rules victimize their employees through wage theft. Wage theft is when an employee does not receive the compensation for the work that they have provided. Sometimes it's in the form of stolen tips or uncompensated overtime or asking an employee to work after they've clocked out for the day. And in some cases, it's an honest mistake, and it can be rectified through internal discussions or through the Department of Labor and Industries. But in other egregious cases, it's purposeful and it's intentional, and with an investigation by the Department of Labor and Industries, it can be considered as willful wage theft, which is an elevated infraction. The city of Everett has a proud history of being a working class, no-nonsense community, and especially in this tough economy and tight city budget, I think we should do what we can to make sure that people who work on city contracts receive the wages that they have rightfully earned. And with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to add a section to our city's procurement policy which bars any contractor who has willfully engaged in wage theft from being able to contract with the city of Everett for 5 years from the date of infraction. And I'd be happy to speak further to my motion if there is a second, either from in chambers or from online.
President Schwab, Councilmember Toohey would like to say something.
Okay, yeah, there's a motion on the floor. May I have a second? Councilmember Toohey.
Yes, I would like to second Councilmember Ryan's ordinance motion.
Great.
Very much.
The motion's been made and second. Do I have discussion?
I have a little bit more to
Okay,
go about.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you,
Councilmember
Councilmember Toohey. So I have prepared a draft ordinance that's in my bag underneath me that's ready for review by our legal team. And after this meeting, I'll forward it to legal, our clerks, administration, and to my colleagues for review. It's modeled after the King County ordinance that I worked on in a previous policy life. I think it's straightforward enough that it could come back for just a first, second, and third reading, but I'm happy for it to take a diversion over to a discussion in a committee if my colleagues have further questions about it. And I also have some suggestions on how this can work out operationally, but would be happy to pass along those recommendations offline. So I thank you all for your consideration and would be happy to answer any questions.
Just for clarification, so your motion includes the review by legal and refer to committee if needed?
If needed, yes.
Okay. Councilmember Vogely.
Question, or maybe just, right on, I'm glad to hear about that. And rather than going to committee, I really like talking about stuff with all of us. So I would just put it out there for President Schwab to just have it come back after legal, and we have gotten it. Just put it on the agenda and let's talk about it.
I too look forward to reading the document.
Yeah,
So-
I thought that if it did need to come back before a committee, it could be a committee of the whole, maybe through a budget committee or something along those lines, since it has to do with finance.
Okay, and then for clarification, we're actually we only just need a motion and a second, just to bring it to legal, and then we'll bring it before council, put it on the agenda for a vote of ratification.
Correct, and
Okay.
legal will work with the motion maker and the seconder to get that done.
Thank you,
Okay.
appreciate that.
Thank you. Anything else, Councilmember Ryan?
That's it for tonight, thank you.
All right. Councilmember Toohey.
Yes, thank you. So thank you, Councilmember Ryan, for bringing this forward. We want to ensure that all of our contractors are not engaging in any wage theft practices. So thank you so much for doing that. I want to just congratulate Roxana and the Faith Family Village. It's exciting to see all this coming together, and thank you for your hard work. And I just wanted to tag off a Councilmember Ryan's request for an update on the water pipes breaking. If Jennifer, if you could also send that update to council would be great, so that we can make sure that we are on top of that. And I'm sorry that it hasn't been resolved at this point, so. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, and I just have a couple of things. I also did attend the Martin Luther King Jr. March, and it was well attended. I also read a proclamation from the city during the event. Just a reminder, we have a council retreat on the 27th, and the agenda should be out next week. It's going to be really similar to last year's. One of the things that I think the goal is to come up with a resolution from the fundraising options. So we're going to have a major discussion on that. Thank you for all your input too. And I mean that for the public. We had a facilitator, interviewed all the council members, and we gave all our feedback to what we wanted to see out of our council retreat. So. Also too, I'm concerned that there was an event in my own neighborhood that I wasn't actually that aware of. So thanks for bringing it up to our attention, and I'm hoping that the city can resolve this very quickly. So, and this isn't the first time this has happened. So, so thank you for bringing it to my attention. That's all I have. Do we have an administrative update?
Yeah, just a couple things. I sent out just this afternoon our state legislative session week 1 report. So let me know if you have any feedback on the format of that. And then just to encourage those of you who haven't done it already, if you are willing to sign in pro on Senate Bill 5770 that has a hearing tomorrow in Ways and Means, you can just let me know and I can put your name in there, or I'll give you the link again. Either way, thanks to those who have already done that. And then thanks, Councilmember Vogely, for mentioning the library's function as a warming center during our normal business hours. And then, of course, as the mayor noted last week, we've got the cold weather shelters for the evening hours at the UCC and Everett Gospel Missions Family Shelter. And those are open on nights forecasted below 34 degrees. And then one other piece. The council got some information that you requested at the last meeting from our finance director, Susie Haugen, and she is on the Zoom right now. So if you have any questions or comments related to the revenue options discussion, I just wanted to flag that she's here right now if you want to throw those out there. We didn't put it on the agenda as a discussion item because I guess maybe weren't sure if that was what we wanted to do for tonight, but she's here now if you had any follow-up. And then I look forward to your retreat and your expanded discussion about revenue options. And I'm also open to adding anything to your agenda of the 24th if that is desired. That's it.
Questions, Councilmember Zalingo.
Just a quick thank you, actually. I've developed several questions over the past week or so, have communicated them to you and Susie and the rest of administration have been very responsive on that and just cleared up one of those things today. So thank you on that. We're on our way to a productive discussion at the retreat.
Councilmember Vogely.
This is probably for Susie, and something that I forgot about the library. They're also having a retreat, and it's going to be just after our retreat. And they are discussing possibilities for revenue just for the library because they're their own separate entity, sort of. So my question is, if they have a magical ability to create revenue to get them funded for all 7 days and to do like just wonderful things, would it still be an option even to even think about consolidating or annexing or merging or whatever word we're using this week with Snow Isle?
I would say I think maybe the short answer is, Susie's up there on Zoom. She's unmuted at least. So, but the short answer would be that I think it would be useful to have at least the initial part of the discussion. So if, if the library board were to pursue a fundraising program or some other angle, all of that might take the same amount of time as those initial steps of a conversation with the Snow Isle libraries about what the annexation process looks like, resolving questions. So I feel like our answer would probably be, why don't we do things in parallel? There's Susie. Do you have more to add?
Councilmember Vogel, are you asking if they can they make recommendations to us for fundraising? Is that?
They're actually going to be discussing fundraising of their own accord. And I imagine, so no, but I would absolutely tell them, yes, give us your information about fundraising, to share the
I know
wealth.
we've talked with, I have this little piece of information about the fact that the animal shelter does a lot of fundraising. And I believe that our administration staff have talked with the library director about similar efforts and fundraising roles to do, kind of to follow that model. But that's like the extent of what I know about that piece.
There's Susie.
Good evening. Yes, the animal shelter has been quite successful with their fundraiser, and the library has recently added a fundraiser position, so we're looking for really good things to happen from that. And I suppose I would just echo Jennifer's suggestion that we have these discussions and see where they lead.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Any other? Good, Councilmember Bader.
Follow up there on that, Susie. When you say quite successful, what can you quantify that? How much? Hundreds of thousands?
Yeah.
For the animal shelter. Yeah.
For the animal shelter, correct. And these are donations that are used only to support the animal shelter. And indeed, they raised enough money. We are bringing in a little over 400,000 from the donation fund to support the veterinary services in 2024.
Councilmember Vogel, did you have any? Okay. Councilmember Ryan? Okay. Any other comments from administrative report? Anything? You're good? All right. How about now to our city attorney? You have a report?
There is no report from legal, and there is no executive session tonight.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to our 3 consent items. Do I have a motion and a second?
Councilmember Ryan moves approval of the 3 consent agenda items.
Thank you.
Councilmember Bader, second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the 3 consent items. Clerk, will you take the roll?
Vice President Zarlingo?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Tui?
Yes.
President Schwab?
Yes. Next, we have a hearing item, which I'll read and then open the public hearing. CB 231059, third and final reading. Adopt an ordinance amending the development agreement for the Everett Riverfront District properties related to the landfill site, amending Section 1 of Ordinance Number 3121-09 as previously amended. The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak?
Yes, there are, so I'll start with those on Zoom, and we'll begin with Aaron, and I'll ask you to unmute and turn your camera on if possible.
Hi, I would.
Oh, just one moment. Actually, I have to start the timer and share my screen, so just one moment, okay? Okay, and just begin with your full name and city of residence, and you have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. I would turn my camera on, but I probably just want to know. It's Erin Knight. I live in Everett, and I'm here to support the comments of the Mukilteo Everett Pickleball Club. And they haven't spoken yet, so I'll leave it to them.
Okay, thank you. Next, Jim, if you could, one moment. Unmute and turn your camera on if possible. Jim, are you there? Okay, we'll move on to Kathy. She's not there either, actually. Okay, so we will go to those in chambers.
Okay, before we do that, I just want to let everyone know we have a timer system, 3 minutes, and at 1 minute, the yellow light blinks, so that way you can kind of time your talk. So the reason why we have it, just to add fairness and limit our meeting length. So we love hearing what you have to say, though. So go ahead, thanks.
Okay, so Nancy, if you could please come to the podium. State your full name and city of residence. Yes, the right button on the base. Thanks, York.
Piece cake. I'm Nancy Purcell. I live in Everett. And I've written my speech so I wouldn't leave everything out. Pickleball is the epitome of build it and they will come. I am the president of Mukilteo Everett Pickleball Club. Our club formed in the spring of 2021 with 11 members. We now have over 450 members and still growing every month. Countrywide, pickleball is the fastest growing sport for many good reasons, primarily because it's extremely fun. It's relatively easy to learn, inexpensive, provides great exercise, and is a way to connect with others. The game bridges generations, creates opportunities for new friendships, and can challenge the athlete in you to achieve your skill level goals. We are a diversified group in many ways, including ages. Our club members range from 9 to 84. And actually, our mother played at 96. So very diversified. We would like to emphasize the need for more pickleball courts as well as the need for more covered courts in our community. Those in the audience, can I ask them to stand up? Is that acceptable or not? For those in the audience that want to support this cause, please stand up and wave your styrofoam. To show your willingness to support more pickleball courts in Everett. Thanks, guys. In coordination with Everett Parks and Recreation, one of our club events is to host organized open play on Wednesdays at Forest Park, where 5 courts have been lined on sports court and a tennis court. These Wednesday in the Park events are really popular. Our board members set up the courts with club nets, and we quite often have 50 or more players. Please note there is only one designated pickleball court in all of Everett and Mukilteo. Additionally, available to the community for play are 5 public tennis courts that have pickleball lines and 2 middle school tennis courts that also have added lines. These are all outdoors and require the players to bring their own net. Please note the public schools courts are unavailable during school hours, including after-school activity time. Of course, all these courts are weather dependent and playable when dry conditions exist. During the months where outside play is a challenge weather-wise, there's the YMCA and other fitness clubs which require a monthly membership. And as of last summer, where there's a volley, which is located in Marysville, that has 4 indoor, 4 pay courts available. If you look at their data, they are bursting at the seams with players. Is there a need for more courts, and will they bring you players? Our answer is resoundingly yes. We strongly support this proposal on the Riverfront to build a commercial pickleball facility. We have no doubt that our community will enjoy the facility for years to come. We also want to thank the Everett Parks Department for working with us and the state legislature, who has approved 9 dedicated outdoor courts at Forest Park that is scheduled to be completed by the end of 2024. Again, Mukilteo Everett pickleball players say, build it and we will come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Kate, if you could come to the podium. Kate. And please state your full name and city of residence.
Hi there. Good evening, council members, city council members. My name is Kate Van Gent. I live in Mill Creek. I am the vice president of the Seattle Metro Pickleball Association, a 700-member association serving the Seattle metro area, including North Snohomish County. I support the developer's request to construct a privately owned pickleball complex in Everett at the Riverfront development. This request does not replace the movie theater. It simply reserves its construction for a future phase of the development. Eric Evans, director of the development of Shelter Holdings, stated that the industry needs time to recover from the impact of COVID. And statistics indicate we're not out of the woods yet. COVID is still once again on the rise in Snohomish County. Pickleball took off during COVID because people can play and remain socially distanced. Record high interest rates and COVID create increased risk for this developer, and since they are taking on risks associated with development, they should be permitted to alter their plan accordingly. Again, the developer's plan is not to do away with the movie theater, but to push its construction to a later phase. Speaking of phases, it is time to stop thinking of pickleball as a phase. Pickleball isn't just the fastest growing sport, it's the state sport. The effort to make the pickleball the state sport was a grassroots effort that started in Snohomish County, in Mill Creek. And you'll see in Mill Creek, Mukilteo Everett Pickleball president there, Nancy Purcell, Rick Bomar, were instrumental in helping support this. We represent communities with hundreds of pickleball players, and we want private pickleball facilities in our cities. You're going to continue to see pickleball mentioned in 2024. We made it the state sport in 2022, but now we're working on Senate Bill SB 5333, which is going to create a state pickleball state sport license plate. And you're going to see that pass in a couple months. You're going to see people driving around Everett with pickleball license plates. You're not getting away from the sport. A word about the Seattle Metro Pickleball Association. We're a community advocate, so we have many types of outreach programs and event involvement. We support pickleball clubs like the Mukilteo Everett Pickleball Club. I am a member of the Mukilteo Everett Pickleball Club as well as the Seattle Metro Pickleball Club, so we cross-pollinate. Seattle Metro Pickleball Association sponsors a program called Diversity and Inclusion in Pickleball, which seeks to involve people of color in pickleball and promote outreach to underserved areas. We are a big supporter of this, and we are expanding our program. And Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell comes to our Diversity and Inclusion in Pickleball events, and we're going to see him at more events coming up. Our SMPA sponsored the West Side Pickleball League, which is an indoor league with over 100 players, and raises money for schools and new courts. We are literally over $10,000 that we don't know what to do with the money. We're giving it to schools, and we are just a big fundraiser for the schools. So in conclusion, we got the PPA Seattle Open coming up, Major League Pickleball coming to Puget Sound for the first time ever. That's going to be in July. We have University of Washington reaching out to us for a UW Pickleball Night, Mariners Pickleball Night. We got the greatest player of all time, Ben Johns, coming into town July to throw out first pitch. And let's make Snohomish County a center for pickleball. Please support the Riverfront Pickleball Facility.
Thank you. I don't think I've beeped so many people in one night. Okay.
Next, if Rick could please come to the podium.
Okay, Rick.
I wasn't sure how my name was mispronounced that time.
And Rick, I think you get 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you just need to state your full name and city
Okay, my name is
residence.
Rick Bomar. I am from Marysville, Washington, born and raised in Everett. I am a member of the board of the Mukilteo Everett Pickleball Club and other venues that I'm involved with. I am involved with instruction within the school districts, within the different clubs, within different cities, and I conduct a lot of different research towards events like what Kate had mentioned as far as promoting the game of pickleball. So first and foremost, I'm an ambassador of the sport as well. So I have a real passion for it. I really find ways to try to do fundraising through pickleball. It's not just about the social part so much, but you can do so much for your communities, the school districts, bringing kids together, bringing grandparents, grandkids together. And it's just a great opportunity through this project to open those doors further and offer those opportunities for people to play. And before I go too much further, Kate had asked if it was okay to do this, but I want to thank the city of Everett for what they've done already for the sport of pickleball by providing Forest Park for us to use on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Can we stand and give the city a hand? That does not go unnoticed. People ask, how did you do that? How did you get the city? Who owes you money? You know, things like that, okay? And, you know, and that's not the case, but just the fact that they're approachable, you are approachable, I appreciate what you do. It's a sacrifice, it's a thankless job in a lot of ways because you aren't gonna make everybody happy, and that's difficult. I deal with that myself. As an instructor, I just find that there's a need for more courts. I know these are pay-to-play courts, but those are opportunities, and those places like Volley, different places, the YMCA. I know that Allison Mead is here, and they open up their doors, and we bring in people, and we teach them, and we don't offer a cost to that. We just present the sport to them, give them a lifelong sport they can play. We even have wheelchair people that I've dealt with and used in clinics before, so we're getting everybody involved. My children played with their grandparents. I'm now playing with my grandchildren. It's a wonderful sport. We need more opportunities for it, and I would just appreciate the support of the council to make that happen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I believe Jim online is available to speak now, so I'll ask Jim if you are ready to do your public comment. Unmute yourself. Jim Rissinger. Okay, I guess he's left, and I just want to clarify for Stacy, are you, oh, wait, Jim is on, okay. Jim, if you could state your full name and city of residence, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Jim Reisinger, resident of Everett. Yeah, I just wanted to thank the city council for the Zoom option tonight and to support all the positive comments that have been made about pickleball. I've been playing for a number of years and would like to see any expansion in courts, and of course we have a lot of players. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you. And I want to confirm with Stacy that she wishes to speak during item 5 and not during the public hearing.
No, I meant to speak at this time.
Okay, so let me just share my screen and give you the 3 minutes, and then 1 second here. Why is it? Okay.
Don't go to too much trouble on the 3 minutes.
Okay, well, there we go. And please state your full name and city of residence.
My name is Stacy Lawrence. I live in Bothell, Mill Creek area, unincorporated Snohomish, and just want to thank you for the opportunity to support the comments that have already been made by the previous speakers regarding the future pickleball facility that we hope makes it. So please allow this project to go forward, and people like me will continue to come to Everett and spend our money. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe that is all the public comments that I have for a public hearing.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I have any comments from council?
Do you need a motion to close the public? hearing
After
first?
council comments? Before council?
We have a staff presentation as well.
Oh, we do? Okay, well, thank you.
Be happy to give a summary here.
Right.
Regarding both items, I think they're 4 and 5 on your agenda. We have 2 items this evening regarding the Riverfront. Everett, 1 ordinance and 1 council authorization for amendment of the Riverfront amended and restated property disposition agreement, or the ARPDA. The Riverfront development is a reclamation and redevelopment project along the Snohomish River that is transforming an obsolete industrial area and landfill site into a hub for recreation, housing, shops, and entertainment. The development is governed by a planned development overlay, a development agreement, a property disposition agreement, a consent decree with the Department of Ecology, and some other agreements. Council Bill 2310-59 is an ordinance that would amend the development agreement for Riverfront Everett in 2 ways. The first change, which you've heard public comment about this evening, relates to a cinema element of the development, which had been envisioned as an entertainment amenity that would help anchor the central plaza and attract people to the area and help support a vibrant shopping, dining, and retail plaza and street. It's been a difficult time for cinema operators who have been suffering a wave of closures and consolidation, and new cinema development just does not appear possible in the foreseeable future. But with every challenge comes an opportunity. The developer of Riverfront Everett, Shelter Holdings, approached the city late last year with a proposal to reimagine the entertainment anchor while maintaining the core characteristics that the city wants to see as part of this development, which includes significant investment, an attraction to bring visitors to the new neighborhood, and something fun to do. They've been working on securing a long-term lease with a dining recreational anchor tenant that includes a pickleball component, as you have likely guessed by now, and are requesting the city's approval of an amendment to the development agreement and plan development overlay to replace that cinema element with an anchor food and recreation, further defined as an anchor establishment with indoor and outdoor spaces covering a substantial majority of the AFR property that provides restaurant quality food and beverage service, combined with active recreational options such as, for example, table tennis, pickleball, tennis, handball, golf, squash, volleyball, or racquetball. An AFR use does not include fitness centers or health spas. So this amendment to the development agreement would draw a circle around what we believe is the tenant that is coming. Maybe they've already secured the lease right now, while allowing some limited flexibility just in case something unforeseen would happen. So that's the fun part. The second aspect of the development agreement proposed for amendment relates to Eclipse Mill Park, which will also be a fun place to visit once that's all set up. It's planned as a park with upland amenities, including a playground and picnic shelter, and in-water amenities, including a dock. Under the current agreements dating back to 2008 and then an amendment in 2019, Shelter first builds the upland part in stages, with the city building the in-water portion later when the city has funds. The city is looking to be able to finish our portion a little bit earlier now, and should be able to finance the in-water park construction in 2025. And accordingly, the proposed change will adjust the construction schedule to accommodate this. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the development agreement amendment. The amendment to the property disposition agreement is a companion to that piece in the second action, and the two work together, and the property disposition agreement only addresses the Eclipse Mill Park portion. And I wanted to make one clarification based on something I heard in public comment, which was that the cinema phase would be moved to a later date. And my read of the development agreement and the development plan is that that would require a amendment to the development agreement to come back to the council. So it is certainly possible, and that's something that that we can certainly hold out hope and intention for, but it would not be automatically part of the development agreement as it stands now. Happy to answer any questions, and I do see Gary Young and Eric Evans from Shelter Holdings in the audience in case you have any questions for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, council? Councilmember Ryan.
Great, thank you. York, can you give a little bit more specifics on the timeline for the Riverfront project? I had a question about it at one of my neighborhood meetings this week.
Yes, that might be best for Eric. We're through the first two buildings. You can see them from that side of town. And
I'm sorry, I misspoke. The Riverfront Park.
The Riverfront Park, okay.
Sorry
Yes.
to get you up, Eric.
Since you're up there, I'd like a little report too on top of that, so.
Sure. So as I understand it, 2025 would be the in-water work, and then subsequent to that would be the rest of the park?
That's correct.
Shelter.
For the record, Eric Evans.
Does that work?
Shelter Holdings. That's correct. There's two components to this too. The city's done well to secure a charging station for bus services. That grant, which the city received, requires that they act quickly and establish the bus charging facility in the proximity of the Everett Eclipse Mill Park. So the thought is to move quickly with the bus charging so that the bus services can begin in the community, and then subsequently complete the inline water and have all that work done, and let us then pick up and work around all these completed improvements as opposed to the other way around.
Great. Eric, while you're here, can you give an update on the project timeline?
Which timeline?
So it's my understanding folks have already started moving into one of the buildings. Is that correct?
We are very pleased to welcome over 100 residents to Riverfront. Currently, we are constructing two mixed-use buildings. The first mixed-use building with the city's support was completed in October, and people promptly moved in. The second building, another approximately 160 residents, is, with luck, going to receive its certificate of occupancy in mid-February. And we will be able to welcome more residents. Subsequent buildings are in permit review with the city, and with this effort, we will be able to move forward with permit drawings for the anchor food and recreational entertainment user.
Great.
Thank you. Any other questions from council? Councilmember Bader.
Yep. When, under the present agreement, when was the Upland Park supposed to have been completed? Upland part of the park?
Complicated question for the benefit of the record. The city had a inline water project, the 36 intertie to the Snohomish River. That project was delayed significantly. It is in the 3-acre park proper and had a dispute with the contractor. That was resolved and allowed us to essentially be able to complete the park in 2024. So this essentially slides it a couple years to accommodate the inline water project.
Assuming Everett completes its portion of the in-water portion, when will Shelter now be obligated to finish the upland part of the park?
I think it's in the amendment.
It's not tied to a future phase, so maybe not define when it's done, but future phase development.
That's, again, a complicated question. There are 2 phases to the 3-acre park. The 3-acre park had the park proper, the play equipment, the parking facility. All that was to commence and be complete. My recollection was by 2025 now. The balance of the park, which is a structure with the bathroom facilities, that's to be completed with the 3rd phase of the project. So we'll complete everything on the west side of Riverfront Boulevard, and then with the next phase that is on the east side, the 3-acre park restroom facility would be completed along with additional parking for kayaks.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks. Yeah, just after 9 years of having this come through, I didn't think when I came back to council, I'd still be having to deal with amendments to this agreement. York, if you can explain to us why council is in a position to approve changes to allow a pickleball facility. I mean, normally, a private business putting in a pickleball facility in Everett isn't going to have to come to the city council to get approval for that. Why, in this case, is city council having to grant approval?
The cinema element was explicitly indicated on the site plan that's in the development agreement and further described therein. Staff's read of that was that the proper procedure for an amendment to that development agreement was to come before council. That was definitely a complicated decision, but we went with a more conservative approach given the importance of the riverfront development and all of the interrelated aspects of it. There are current procedures for amending a development agreement in Title 19 that have changed since the original development agreement was amended, and that was some of the complexity of figuring out which procedure to follow. In the end, it seemed like the right way was to be safe with it and come back to the council.
And I mean, our interest in what goes in there is because the concept for this development was to be a draw. I mean, even the cinema was a change from earlier iterations, right. Correct?
Right, delayed, yeah.
Right. And while I think pickleball, will probably be a draw, I just want, obviously, the reason city council or the city is concerned about this is because of our need to make this a whatever lifestyle center or whatever we're technically building down there. as opposed to just any private business opening that, so.
Sure, and there was also some, this has been an intertwined partnership since the beginning. Shelter has invested money, the city has invested money, and so we have this cross agreement to ensure that each side provides some of the key kind of amenities, the road, the park, the anchor tenant, which should support kind of an ecosystem of commercial enterprises down there and everything.
Certainly, and I mean, obviously, a complex project in a changing environment. You know, I remember the Amazon nation of America obviously changed the whole landscape of retail. You know, I guess my interest as a council member is I just don't want constituents coming to me going, when is this going to get done? Like they do talking about Washington State Department of Transportation projects. Anyhow, so anyhow, that's where I'm coming from. I appreciate the turnout, and I mean, I'm certainly supportive of the pickleball effort. My only suggestion would be, and actually, pickleball, I think there's a dedicated pickleball court in my neighborhood, Riverside. I'm grateful for that. They provide, having people come play pickleball there is really great for our neighborhood. My only suggestion would be, could we change it to the Everett Mukilteo Pickleball Association? So my suggestion to the neighbors, or to the community there. So thanks, but grateful for the opportunity, thanks for the answers, and grateful for the opportunity to vote on this.
Great. Any other questions? Okay, Ben had the buzzer first.
President Schwab, I guess the questions I had to ask, Council Members Ryan and Bader have asked. So the only other thing I had was comment, and I'm not sure if you wanted to reserve council comments until after the close of the public hearing. So if you do that, I'll hold mine back.
Okay, after the close of public, yes. Any other questions? Okay. All right, hearing no more questions, thank you for the presentation. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Clerk, will you take the roll?
Vice President Zerlingo?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely?
Aye.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Tui?
I think
Can
I
you
saw
repeat
lips
that?
move.
Yeah, yes.
Yes,
President Schwab?
yes. Okay, time for council comments. Councilman Ryan.
Great. Yes, very happy to support this evening. Without naming the name, I have based on the description, I have a very good idea of who the anchor tenant is, based on travels that I've made. And so I just want to make sure that it's clear that it's not just private pickleball courts. Like, it's a really great group that's coming to Everett that is really philanthropically minded. They give back to community. They have really great food. I believe they even brew their own beers, and they have lots of, it's a really exciting thing for the city of Everett. And the footprint that goes with this group is pretty big, and I can't think of too many other places in the city that it would fit. So while it is disappointing that the theater won't be coming, I think this is a really great move for the city and for the neighborhood, and just the revitalization of our community. And of the theaters, I think of how downtown Everett, the downtown core, used to have 4, 5, 6 theaters, movie theaters, decades ago. And so I'd love to see support for groups like the Everett Film Festival group to take over a theater downtown and have it be similar to like the Majestic and Ballard, and put up a fantastic marquee, and I dream about it all the time. But so I'm happy to support today, and I also wanted to highlight the mention that was mentioned before about dedicated pickleball courts, about how Forest Park's going to be removing some of their underutilized horseshoe spaces to put in dedicated pickleball courts. So that's another exciting thing coming down the pike. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other council comments? Councilman Zarlingo.
Well, I guess I have to confess a bit of bias here, as somebody who probably should recreate more and work less. The idea of recreation that way, even though I've never played pickleball, I have a friend or two who have. But I did also want to say I respect the careful consideration of previous councils, staff, and the Planning Commission in the previous agreement. I think we should carefully consider those, respect that precedent and the work that's gone on, but also it's our duty to recognize when conditions change. And both from the standpoint of difficulty for cinemas and the growth of pickleball in the past few years since this agreement was originated, I think that's exactly what has happened. Conditions have changed, and this is a better option for the city, so I'll support it.
Other comments?
Just want to quickly say thank you to Shelter for their partnership with us and their leadership on this. So much appreciated over all these, staying with us for all these many years.
Any other council comments? And I would just like to say thank you for the planning department and all the hard work. Also, thank you for investing in Everett. I'm very excited. Let's get it done, huh? And so I'm hearing no comments. I guess, do I have a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Councilor Ryan, so moves.
Seconded.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. City Clerk, will you take the roll?
Vice President Sarlingo?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely?
Aye.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Tui?
Yes.
President Schwab?
Yes. All right, moving on to action item number 5. Authorize the mayor to sign a second amendment to the Riverfront amended and restated property deposition agreement in substantially the form provided.
Council President, my apologies, but I thought the action item actually was the second amendment. Can I ask the city attorney to clarify?
I think that's the intent, is it not, York?
The two are paired and linked, and I briefed both of them. The first one is an ordinance, the second one is council authorization to the mayor to sign the amendment to the amended restated property disposition agreement.
So to clarify, there actually was 2 action items, one, maybe I'm looking at an old agenda, one on section 1 and one to sign the second. Can someone clarify? Because I only saw one action item on my agenda.
There's one action item, and then item number 4 shows as a public hearing, but that was the action you just took. So item 4 is Council Bill 2310.59, and that's that development agreement ordinance. And then the action item is right underneath that. That's item 5, and that's the second amendment. That's a really long title that York just said.
Okay, but my apologies. I think I've been used to a fashion of a public hearing and then an action item listing the action from that public hearing in the past, so.
I see.
Right, the public hearing and action item, and then the next one is just action item.
Yep.
Okay. So then we're looking for a motion on action item number 5.
Yeah, sign a second amended to the Riverfront amended and restated property disposition, yeah.
Gotcha, my apologies. Okay, so I'll move the item number 5.
Okay,
Second.
okay, motion and a second. Any more comment? Okay. Clerk, will you take the roll?
Vice President Sarlingo?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely?
Aye.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Tui?
Yes.
President Schwab?
Yes. With no further business, we are now adjourned.